Okay, welcome to Kenpo Circle number 4. In this episode, we're going to talk about the fighting stance. So let's bow in and get started. Okay, in this episode, we're going to talk about the fighting stance, also known as a neutral bow in American Kenpo. A fighting stance is basically where your front foot is on the same line as your back heel. So you would have a straight line. If you put a stick between them, the toes would pretty much be on those lines. And the reason we teach this is because of all the benefits that you get from this. So let's first talk about how you get into a fighting stance. Well, the best way to do it is from a natural stance is just slide your foot straight back, pivot, and then you should be in a pretty close to a heel-toe relationship, which is your fighting stance. Now, how do you know if your stance is too short or too wide? The best way to do this is by just standing there and put out your toe and just go where it naturally falls. Okay, wherever that is your natural width. In other words, that is your triangulation point. Anything beyond that, and you're going to be too wide. Anything shorter than that, and you're not going to have the stability you're looking for. So just put the foot out, let it drop naturally, and there you have a heel-toe stance or a fighting stance. Almost every single technique we do uses a fighting stance. So again, to go into it, you step slightly back, just go straight back. Now, this is where a lot of students make a mistake, is they'll pick up the foot and plant it back down. That is not going to get you into a fighting stance. Because 99.9% of the time when you do that, you're going to naturally go back to a side horse stance. Okay? Also, when you're sparring and when you're fighting, you don't want to be picking your feet up. Because if your foot's in the air and you get hit, you're unstable. There's no way to recover from that. So, and you don't know what the terrain is. If you're not paying attention and you step back, you can step back into a hole. You can step back onto a stick or something that could trip you. So you always want to slide your feet as you move and slightly feel the ground. Now you don't want it flat-footed. You just want it up so that the toes are touching the ground and you slide straight back so that you can feel what you're doing and what your terrain is. And then the feet pivot, and they should be facing not straight ahead. You should be facing probably around between the 9 and the 10:30 position. Okay? So you go straight back in here. Now, what do your hands do? Now, the hands, depending on your instructor, some instructors have specifics, one high, one low. I've found I let the students decide what makes them more comfortable, what allows them to relax when they freestyle and spar, because when you're relaxed, you get a lot, you're faster, okay? That's just a fact. The more stiffer you are, the tighter you are, the slower you're going to be. The more relaxed you are, the more you can see, the more you're aware of, and the faster your response will be. So I have the students just put their hands up in some kind of a natural position that allows them to cover the lower parts as well as cover the higher parts. Now, at first, students usually have one high, one low, covering the face, covering the groin. And then as students progress, like me, I keep my hands a little lower than that because it's more relaxing. It's not right here in my face. So it's a lot easier for me to do what I need to do. So that is just something that's up to you. Now, what are the benefits of a fighting stance? Why do we use it versus a side horse stance or a square horse stance? Okay, first of all, a side horse stance, even though it is a very stable stance, it's not a mobile stance, okay? You really can't move and position out of this, okay? And you also don't want too low of a stance. That'll also make you not very mobile. Because what happens is if you're in a low stance, you're stable, you can take the hits. Problem is in order to move, kick, or do anything, you're going to have to stand up. That's a tell. That's just telling your opponent that you're about to move, you're about to counter or attack. So one of the reasons we use a fighting stance, because if you're in a proper fighting stance, you not only have equal reach with both hands, unlike a side horse stance, where my backhand does not have the same reach as my front hand. Also, in order to kick, I have to come out and around. Where if I'm in a fighting stance, I open my stance up, I have equal reach with both hands, so I can hit you either way. I also have the ability to kick with either foot. Now the other advantage is if you're in a proper fighting stance that's set for you, you should be able to do kicks, punches, anything you want without your head coming up and down. You shouldn't have to bob up and down in order to do a move. Also, you should be able to move from side to side, to back to front, front to back, without the head bobbing up and down. Okay, if you can do that, then you're in a proper fighting stance. Okay, so again, let's kind of recap. A fighting stance starts from a neutral stance. You step straight back, pivot. You're on a heel-toe relationships. Your hands are up wherever it's comfortable for you to fight with. Okay, and we do this because we have equal reach with both hands. We can kick. We have mobility. If I'm too upright, I have mobility, but I lose my stability. In other words, if I get hit real hard, I'm going to fall backwards. Okay? And that is the fighting stance in Kenpo. If you have any questions or comments or something specific you would like me to cover, please put them in the comments below. Until then, keep moving forward.